From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Good evening. I'm Robert Newland, Chief of Staff for the Library of Congress. And on behalf of the Acting Librarian of Congress, David S. Mao, and our music division, I'm excited to welcome you to tonight's concert in celebration of the music of Marvin Hamlisch. It's very ironic that I'm standing here at a music stand, since I have absolutely no music ability whatsoever. So I'm going to savor this moment using the stand. This is quite a momentous season for the Library of Congress, marking the 90th anniversary of concerts presented here in the Coolidge Auditorium. The storied history of the concerts here include hundreds of world premieres, including Appalachian Spring, Samuel Barber's songs performed by Leontine Price, and Bartok's Fifth String Quartet, works the library also happened to commission. But tonight is a Broadway night, and one where you'll also hear some world premieres. I think I can state without risk of contradiction that the library has the finest and most significant collections of manuscripts and papers of the great Broadway songwriters. I can't name them all, but they include Jerome Kern, Irving Berlin, George and Ira Gershwin, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Lerner and Lowe, and Leonard Bernstein. The most recent addition to these collections is the papers of Marvin Hamlisch. As Hamlisch was also a film composer, I'd be remiss in not adding that his collection also joins the library's collections of manuscripts of film composers that include Henry Mancini, Eric Korngold, and David Raxon. Regarding Hamlisch, composer of a chorus line, The Way We Were, and They're Playing Our Song, I hope you had a chance to see the exhibit in the lobby and just outside this auditorium. Hamlisch is one of only two people who won all the major American Performing Arts and Entertainment Awards, the Pulitzer, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. This afternoon, I spent some time going through the exhibit, and it's really wonderful. And if you don't get goosebumps from looking at a letter from Barbra Streisand to Marvin Hamlisch, you'll never get goosebumps. I had the privilege of seeing Mr. Hamlisch twice, both times at Wolf Trap here, just outside of Washington in suburban Virginia. Well, as many of you know, part of the seating of Wolf Trap in the summer is outdoors. It's really great. You can go and take a picnic. And during one performance by Mr. Hamlisch, it began to rain. And I don't mean just rain. It was like a torrential downpour. Well, generally, if you've been there, you know that it starts to rain, everybody runs for cover, or they run to their car and leave. But for Marvin Hamlisch, everyone remained and got totally drenched. So in honor of the occasion, he played April Showers and Raindrops Keep Falling on Your Head. Always a fast thinker. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Mrs. Marvin Hamlisch, wife and donor of his collection to the library. It's because of the vision and generosity of people like Mrs. Hamlisch that the library is able to do what we do on behalf of Congress, history, scholars, and the American people. The expert staff here at the Library of Congress will preserve and protect it and make it available to all. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Marvin Hamlisch.
Thank you and good evening. He's a wonderful chief of staff, Robert. Robert, thank you for the introduction. He said he got a memo the other day that said chef of staff. So I don't think he cooks, but he's a great chief of staff. So let me say that it's very emotional for me tonight, as this is my first time that I've returned to Washington, D.C. since Marvin's death, and it's a city that meant so much to Marvin Hamlisch. Marvin was taken on a tour of the Library of Congress, and Mark Horowitz showed him the original Gershwin manuscripts, and Marvin actually wept. This is a meaningful institution for Marvin and for our nation. So meaningful that he left all his manuscripts, his historic photos, and awards here. There are two people I need to thank very quickly tonight. After, I also thank my girlfriend Val, who came all the way from New York City with me, Todd Perdman, who flew here from California, Mitch, Rhonda, Pablo, Cal Thomas, and all the friends and family that are in the room tonight. I just saw John Such. And the first person I need to thank is Mark Horowitz and his staff and his colleagues at the Library of Congress. Mark is an amazing man, and he's filled with purpose, passion for music, musicians, history. And he's brilliantly intellectually and with a great heart. And I believe in the history of this institution will go down better for his being a part of it. The Library of Congress is lucky to have Mark and his colleagues. And it's through his tireless research, it's true. It's through his tireless research he has found songs of Marvin's that no one knew existed. And the second thank you is to my very good friend who's backstage, Ted Sperling. He's a consummate musician. And I always want to be around Ted because his musical standards are top notch. And his daughters are quite beautiful. I'd also like to thank the performers tonight, especially Capathia and Lindsay. You're in store for a real treat. Some of the performers I worked with Ted at Marvin's benefit in Central Park for the Public Theater. And I want you to know how much Marvin Hamlisch loved Washington, D.C. He loved the people of this community, the National Symphony Orchestra, the Kennedy Center. He really believed in the culture of our nation, and he believed in education and music education in the schools. I wish he could be here tonight. I have to believe in the spirit he is through all of you that came. So thank you again, Library of Congress, Mark Horowitz, and everyone for honoring Marvin Hamlisch. I know Marvin would be humbled, and he would be thrilled. Thank you.
I know I ought to like classical music. Play on, little girl, play on. And I was taught to like classical music, but with each rondelet, my thoughts begin to stray. I left the kitchen door ajar. I've got the stiffness in my knees. A thought accompanies each lovely limpid bar, haunts each sweet reprise. Where'd I leave the car keys? A rum-tum-tum-tum-tum, classical music. I sit in my world withdrawn. And what do I get from classical music? out of ballpoint pens. I'm losing a contact lens. The world may hang on every note that Wolfgang Amadeus wrote, but here's where I stifle the yearn.
The sound of falling rain, or lemonade that stirred, the whistle of a train, the whistle of a bird. To some it's only noise, but every sound I've heard seems sure like, much more like a song.
The music in my mind belongs to me. Every note I hear rings true, and soon the world will find these sounds and songs to be worth singing, like summer rains and wooden spoons,
And passing trains and popped balloons,
and every sound from far and near. It won't be long before you hear them too.
A siren passing by.
A siren passing by.
A plane that's flying low.
A plane that's flying low.
Potatoes as they fry.
Potatoes as they fry.
A nose you gotta blow.
A nose you gotta blow.
The shouts of girls and boys.
The shouts of girls and boys.
The sledding in the snow. An earful
As cheerful
as a song. Oh, the music in my mind belongs to me. Every note I hear rings true, and soon the world will find these sounds and songs to be worth singing.
of soaring airplanes.
In the sky,
a siren's blare,
or sizzling fries. A honking horn.
a honking
or
nose,
popping corn.
Or winter snows.
and summer rains and wooden spoons and passing trains and pop balloons.
And every sound from far and near.
It won't be long before you hear them too. Before you hear the music in our minds belongs to us. Every note we sing rings true. If days turn gray, we'll find bright sounds and songs and just keep singing.
A lion's roar,
A cricket's chirp,
a father's snore,
a baby's burp,
the tinkling
of
sounds,
tapping feet, a subway pounds beneath the street, or soaring airplanes,
the skies,
a siren's blaze,
sizzling fries,
a honking horn, a honking
or
nose,
popping
or
corn.
winter snows, and summer rains and wooden spoons, and passing trains and pop balloons, and every sound of any kind. It won't be long before you hear the music in your mind.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ted Sperling, and I'm so delighted to be your host and music director for tonight's concert, celebrating the acquisition of the Hamlisch collection here at the library. Marvin and I never met, and it's one of the great disappointments of my life. But all my childhood, I was told I reminded people of Marvin. And I don't think it was just the nose. Marvin and I had an early love for music, and it was very obvious to everyone around us. And we, in fact, both went to the pre-college division, the elementary and high school division of the Juilliard School in New York. We shared some other things in common. We were both born and bred New Yorkers. Our mothers were both from Vienna. And we both grew up loving all kinds of music. Marvin was famously the youngest person ever admitted to the Juilliard School, I believe at age 5. We decided to start tonight's concert with 2 songs that celebrate music. The first, classical music, is from an early version of a Broadway musical he wrote called Smile, with lyrics by Carolyn Lee. And I think it's a little gentle homage to his alma mater. And the second song, The Music in My Mind, is one of the last songs that Marvin ever wrote. It was written to go with a children's book he wrote called Marvin Makes Music. Now, tonight's concert is one of many celebrating Marvin's enormous, wonderful output, but it's different from all the others. We have the resources of this collection to draw from, and in that collection we found many rarities. So along with some of the greatest hits, you're going to hear songs that have never been performed on any stage, and this next one is one of them. And it was actually not in the collection because it was already here at the library. The reason is it's the first song that Marvin applied for a copyright for in 1957 when he was 13. And I'll give you just a little taste of that song now. The beautiful changes. It won't stay the same. Time is to blame. Things that are lovely change. The beautiful changes in front of your eyes. You don't realize it. Suddenly beauty's gone. But in your heart there's a place that time will enter never. The memory of love's embrace can live with you forever. The beautiful changes, but love never dies. And those who are wise know loveliness lies in the eyes of love, of love, of love. Thank you. In addition to those rarities, we had decided to do some of Marvin's personal favorites. In fact, there were some songs he said no concert of his should be without. This is one of them from a chorus line.
Daddy always thought that he married beneath him. That's what he said, that's what he said. When he proposed, he informed my mother he was probably her very last chance. And though she was 22, though she was 22, though she was 22, she married him. Life with my dad wasn't ever a picnic, more like a come as you are. When I was 5, I remember my mother dug earrings out of the car. I know that they weren't hers, but it wasn't something you'd want to discuss. He wasn't warm. Well, not to her. Well, not to us. But everything was beautiful at the ballet. Graceful men lift lovely girls in white. Yes, everything was beautiful at the ballet. I was happy at the ballet. That's when I started class. Up a steep and very narrow stairway to the voice like a metronome. Up a steep and very narrow stairway. It wasn't paradise.
It wasn't paradise.
It wasn't paradise, but it was home.
Mother always said I'd be very attractive when I grew up. Different, she said, with a special something and a very, very personal flair. And though I was 8 or 9, though I was 8 or 9, I hated her. Now, different is nice, but it sure isn't pretty. Pretty is what it's about. I never met anyone who was different, who couldn't figure that out. So beautiful, I'd never live to see. But it was clear, if not to her, well then to me, that everyone is beautiful at the ballet. Every prince has got to have his swan. Yes, everyone is beautiful at the ballet. I was pretty
At the ballet.
up a steep and very narrow stairway to the voice like a metronome. Up a steep and very narrow stairway. It wasn't paradise. It wasn't paradise.
It wasn't paradise, but it was home.
I don't know what they were for or against, really, except each other. I mean, I was born to save their marriage. But when my father came to pick up my mother at the hospital, he looked at her and he said, "Well, I thought this was going to help, but I guess it's not." Anyway, I did have a fantastic fantasy life. I used to dance around the living room with my arms up like this. And in my fantasy, it was an Indian chief. And he'd say to me, "Maggie, do you want to dance?" And I'd say, "Daddy, I would love to dance." But it was clear
When he proposed,
that I was born to help their marriage unwed.
that's what he said.
That's what she said. I used to dance around the living room.
He wasn't warm.
Not to her. It was an Indian chief, and he'd say, "Maggie, do you want to dance?" And I'd say, "Daddy, I would love to." Everything was beautiful at the ballet. Raise your arms, and someone's always there. Yes, everything was beautiful at the ballet. At the ballet. At the Yes, everything was beautiful at the ballet. I was pretty.
I was happy.
I would love to.
At the ballet.
I think Marvin was fascinated by Broadway from an early age. I've been rehearsing at Professional Children's School on West 60th Street near Lincoln Center, and there are pictures of Marvin in high school up on the walls there, performing pieces that he wrote for school reviews. I don't think any of those surfaced in the collection so far. But I was wondering, why was he at Professional Children's School? Because that's a school for professional children, children who have jobs. I know that some of Marvin's early jobs shaped the rest of his life. He was straight man, believe it or not, to Groucho Marx in a show. He played piano for Groucho Marx and was his straight man. He also was a rehearsal pianist for the original Broadway production of Funny Girl, starring, of course, Barbra Streisand, and that's where that great friendship started. But what did surface in the archive was an entire score for a musical adaptation of The Glass Menagerie, written when Marvin was 15. So we're going to do one of those songs, probably for the very first time ever on a stage tonight. The scene is one in which Amanda, the mom in the show, is yelling at her son Tom. She doesn't understand what he does when he goes out all night. He says he's going to the movies, and she doesn't believe him. And he kept saying, "I'm going to the movies, Mom." She says, "Who goes to the movies all night?" He says, "Okay, fine." And in exasperation, he tells her that, in fact, he's a criminal to be reckoned with.
I'm going to opium dens, yes, opium dens, dens of vice. So think twice, mother, before you tangle with Killer Wingfield. I carry a Tommy gun around in a violin case. Better face it, mother, you're tangling with Killer Wingfield. I'm leading a double life, warehouse by day, and then I go around every night, packing a knife where violence is rife. I run a cat house in the valley, live in a back alley world, yeah. But wanna know who your son is? Your son's a killer, they call him Killer Wingfield. I'm a dynamic czar of the underworld, mother, El Diablo. Each night a fortune I bet on a single turn of the roulette wheel. Just 'cause I get a feeling a little crazy, that's Killer Wingfield. I've no regard or respect for moral fools who try to always be so correct they can expect to ever collect. I'm not afraid of a dare, I don't care a fig for danger. Oh, danger is no stranger to your little sonny, Killer Wingfield. Killer Wingfield. Killer Wingfield. Your sonny boy.
Some of these early songs were left to us in a very elementary form. For example, that song just had the melody and the lyrics, but no indication of what the accompaniment was. So it was a bit of a detective job to figure out what to play. And we were working on it, and through an interesting channel, actually through Michael Feinstein, one of Hamlisch's childhood friends, Michelle Brewerman, heard that we were resurrecting that song. She says, "I remember that. I remember Marvin playing that to me in 1957, and I'll record what I remember of the piano part." And it was very interesting. It was much better than what we'd come up with. So thank you, Michelle. We're very grateful. The lyrics for that song were written by Hamlisch's first major collaborator, Howard Liebling, with whom he would go on to write his first couple of hits, including Rainbows, Lollipops, and Roses, and California Nights. And Howard eventually became his brother-in-law. In addition to his songs for Broadway musicals, of course, Marvin is famous for his movie theme songs. The first of his film songs to be nominated for an Oscar was for the film Koch. and I don't mean Ed Koch. As Marvin put it, Sammy Kahn gets a picture with a great title like 3 Coins in a Fountain. Sammy Fain gets Love is a Many-Splendid Thing. I get Koch. Believe me, there's not much you can rhyme with Koch, and what you can rhyme with it is problematic. There are other times when Marvin hit the jackpot. The first song he wrote with lyricist Carol Bayer Sager was for the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me. Sung by Carly Simon, that Oscar-nominated song was perhaps the most sensuous he ever wrote, and it was written over the phone while Sager was in LA and Hamlisch was in London. Here's Capathia to sing that.
Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. Baby, you're the best. I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. I tried to hide from your love light, but like heaven above me, the spy who loved me is keeping all my secrets safe tonight. Nobody does it better. Sometimes I wish someone could. Nobody does it quite the way you do. Why did you have to be so good? The way that you hold me, whenever you hold me, there's some kind of magic inside you that keeps me from running, but just keep it coming. How'd you learn to do the things you do? And nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. Baby, 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 you're the best. Baby, you're the best. Yes. Baby, you're the best. Yes, yes. Baby,
I believe I'm correct in saying you actually sang that with Marvin. Is that true? Yes. So thank you, Capathia. It means a lot to us. Now, not every project of Marvin's was a smash hit. You would have thought that The Goodbye Girl had all the ingredients for a success. It had a book by Neil Simon based on his hit play, had lyrics by David Zippel, an incredibly talented newcomer, and it starred Martin Short and Bernadette Peters. And while it was a respectably good show, it wasn't a smash. I remember seeing it and loving many moments of it, and particularly this next song, which I asked that we perform tonight. I think it has the potential to be a new classic. And in it, Bernadette sang about sometimes one can be one's own worst enemy.
How can I learn to trust enough and to stop believing all I hear are lies? Open my heart, but just enough to keep an open mind, but never close my eyes to the dangers. I alert myself, making efforts to assert myself and discovering ways to hurt myself that no one else has tried. How can I win if I'm not on my side? How can I dare to feel again if I can't let go of past mistakes I've made? Living through each ordeal again, the faith that I misplaced, the price I overpaid, I've been able to endure enough, but I must not want the cure enough. I get back on my feet, and sure enough, my hopes and fears collide. How can I win if I'm not on my side? I live each day like my emotions are at war, but I don't remember anymore just who or what I'm fighting for. When will delight be mine again? Will it come, or can it be that it's too late? I want the sun to shine again, but I must walk away from the shadows I create. And though I tell myself it's safer just to hide, how can I win if I keep retreating? Cheating myself is self-defeating. How can I win if I'm not on my side?
So one of the head-scratching discoveries in the collection is a mini song cycle. It's called National, spelled National. It's undated, and we haven't found anyone who knows when or why Marvin wrote it. It is setting several animal-related poems by Ogden Nash. You know, of the inimitable light verse and life philosophies such as, there is only one way to achieve happiness on this terrestrial ball, and that is to have either a clear conscience or none at all. So, as far as we know, for the first time anywhere, National.
Cows have calves, cats have kittens, bears have cubs, bats have bitens, swans have cygnets, seals have puppies, but guppies just have little guppies. I don't mind eels, except as meals.
Me, I'd rather like the bat. It's not a mouse, it's not a rat. It has no feathers, yet has wings. It's quite inaudible when it sings. It zigzags through the evening air, never lands on ladies' hair, a fact of which men spend their lives attempting to convince their wives.
Some primal termite knocked on wood and tasted it and found it good. And that is why your cousin May fell through the parlor floor today.
That was really hard to learn. I have now on my computer over 350 songs by Marvin Hamlisch, courtesy of the library, and it was very hard to pick from amongst those. But one of them stood out to us. It's a very charming song, also from an early version of Smile, and it's called Walking in the Sunshine.
Forecast rainy and blowy, forecast windy and snowy. You caught my eye and my galoshes melted away. Get a load of me, gee, it's great to be walking in the sunshine. Look at what you did, I'm a lucky kid walking in the sunshine. A song in my heart in a song. My days are no longer lightning and thunderful, isn't it wonderful? Say hello again, there I go again, dreaming up a rainbow. Laughing up my sleeve at the make-believe blizzard on the way. Your roses and yours spring to me, rub noses and come cling to me. Honeysuckle vines and wisteria, we could make them grow in Siberia. Anywhere with you is a sunny day. Again, dreaming up a rainbow. Laughing up my sleeve at the make-believe blizzard on the way. Your roses and yours spring to me, rub noses and come cling to me. Honeysuckle vines and wisteria, we could make them grow in Siberia. Anywhere with you is a sunny day.
I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the band. These are all buddies of mine from New York. We've done many, many projects together over the years. On bass, Dave Phillips. On the drums, Sean McDaniel. On guitars, Scott Cooney. And on all 4 reed instruments, Aaron Hike. So Marvin's last Broadway show was Sweet Smell of Success. And for me, it's an apex of his work. It's a magnificent score, and we would happily sing all the songs for you tonight if there were time. I thought it would be nice to celebrate just purely the music for one song and show off our band a little bit. So we're going to do a song from Sweet Smell called I Cannot Hear the City, featuring Aaron on the saxophone. I have a special love for a chorus line. I'd been taken to see Broadway shows when I was a child, but they were all old shows. I saw My Fair Lady with Rex Harrison, and I saw The King and I with Yul Brynner, and of course they were fantastic. But the chorus line was the first show that I felt was written especially for me. I was a teenager when it premiered, and I bought the album with my allowance. Remember albums? And for my 16th birthday, I asked my 3 best friends to buy us tickets to go see a chorus line. It was the first show that I went to without my parents. And it was a show that, dealt with a lot of tricky subject matter. I think I would have been embarrassed to sit next to my parents at a chorus line. But it thrilled me. And so it was an incredible honor to be involved with this gala 2 summers ago in Central Park, where we examined the making of a chorus line with alumni from the show. We had the original cast join us. We had the most recent national company join us. We had Elliottsfeld 13-year-old dancers join us, and all in Central Park celebrating the making of this amazing show. And that's when I got to know Terry and was welcomed into the chorus line family. So we decided to finish this first part of our program with one of our favorite songs from a chorus line performed by Lindsay, who performed it at that gala in Central Park.
I was so excited because I was going to the High School of Performing Arts. I was dying to be a serious actress. Well, anyway, it's our first day of acting class, and we're all in the auditorium, and the teacher, Mr. Karp, Mr. Karp. Well, anyway, he puts us up on the stage with our legs wrapped around each other, one in back of the other, and he says, okay, we're gonna do improvisations. Now, you're on a bobsled, and it's snowing out, and it's cold, okay? Go. Every day for a week we would try to feel the motion down the hill. Every day for a week we would try to hear the wind rush, feel the chill. So I dug right down to the bottom of my soul to see what I had inside. Yes, I dug right down to the bottom of my soul, and I tried, and everybody's yelling, whoosh, whoosh, oh, I feel the snow, oh, I feel the cold, I feel the air. And Mr. Karp turns to me and he says, okay, Morales, what did you feel? And I said, nothing. I'm feeling nothing. And he says, nothing could get a girl transferred. They all felt something, but I felt nothing except the feeling that this bullshit was absurd. But then I said to myself, hey, you know what? It's only the first week. Maybe it's genetic. I mean, they don't have bobsleds in San Juan. Second week, more advanced, and we had to be a table, be a sports car, ice cream cone. Mr. Karp, he would say, very good, except Morales. Try Morales. All alone. So I dug right down to the bottom of my soul to see how an ice cream felt. Yes, I dug right down to the bottom of my soul, and I tried to melt. The kids yelled, nothing. They called me nothing, and Karp allowed it, which really makes me burn. They were so helpful. They called me hopeless until I really didn't know where else to turn. And Mr. Karp said, you know what, Morales, maybe you should transfer to Girls High. You'll never be an actress. Never. Jesus Christ. Went to church, praying Santa Maria, send me guidance, send me guidance. On my knees. Went to church, praying Santa Maria, help me feel it, help me feel it, pretty please. And a voice from down at the bottom of my soul came up to the top of my head. Yes, a voice from down in the bottom of my soul. Here is what it said. This man is nothing. This course is nothing. If you want something, go find a better class. And when you find one, you'll be an actress. And I assure you that's what finally came to pass. 6 months later, I heard that Karp had died. And I dug right down to the bottom of my soul and cried, 'cause I felt nothing.
I can't believe it. You hit a big one.
I hit a big, loud, throbbing high C.
I practiced my scales like a strict sauerkraut, but it's always a gamble what note will come out.
I can't believe it.
It's such a killer.
And our vocal cords carry no warranty.
True, our throats are defrosted, but we're so exhausted. And there's still 2 more hours of opera potpourri.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
I bet I am.
Well, then let's tell him. There's gotta be a better way to make a living than singing Wagner till your tonsils burst. An English teacher teaches you the proper English lingo.
An opera singer kills himself competing with Domingo. There's gotta be a better way to pay the mortgage than riding the Are you kidding me? All my life.
You know what else I'm thinking?
Yup, there's gotta be a better way to make a living
Than hitting high notes higher than a kite.
A painter gets a ladder when he paints the peaks of houses.
Sopranos burst their bladders as they shriek deflate our mouses.
There's gotta be a better way to rest our voices.
Perhaps I should become a Carmelite. I hear it's fun to be a nun and easy to be a nun that sings my favorite things like Fräulein Maria.
Someday we'll find a better way to make a living, and I hope that day is tonight. Let's trade in our German for hip-hop or rap, and Broadway tunes are easy, they say.
If Ethel Merman sang it, it must be a snap. She did 2 shows a day.
Plus a Sunday matinee. So you and I, we might as well just make a killing with something thrilling from a Broadway show. We're throwing out all throaty notes and breathing diaphragmish and substituting Richard Rodgers, Kern, and Marvin Hamlisch. And you can bet we're gonna make a better living by sampling some Lerner and some Low.
You're right, I could have danced all night, is always delightful.
Although if we do Jersey Boys, the outcome would be frightful. There's gotta be a better way to make a living. And now that we know the way we should go, we're gonna make every bulb on Broadway go. We're gonna start our better way to make a living by giving you an incredible show.
We don't know much about that song, except that the lyric was by Marvin himself. There was recently a wonderful concert version done in New York of Sweet Smell of Success, and Lindsay participated in that and sang this song called Rita's Tune.
Spruce up the room for romancing. Pull all his socks from the line. Relax the pace and fix your face. Tonight you're gonna sparkle like the wine. Music will float from the Philco, saying the boy could be mine. The room will spin, we'll order in, and slowly slip our shoes off as we dine. He'll be late, always is. Me, I'm here. Me, I'm his. Make me wait, and I might bust. I'll sit and look at look or life, or I'll just dust. I'll give it a lick and a promise. Give me the same, I'll be fine. The future calls within these walls, as if it all was part of some design. Feels like home, feels so right. The prince ain't got a palace, but I feel rich tonight. Safe at home in his domain, scrounging up some glasses for our pink champagne. Mama, she's hot for Sydney, strutting and cleaning house. This heart that I got for Sydney is busted the seams of my blouse. Someone in sweet California plucked off a cork in sweet New York. I think tonight's the night to pop it, reach the top, then try to top it. Think tonight's the night. Tonight's the night I'll shine. Let me shine. See me shine. Finally, my life's gonna shine.
Please don't let this feeling end. It's everything I am and everything I want to be. I can see what's mine now, finding out what's true. Since I found you, looking through the eyes of love, and now I can take the time, I can see my life as it comes up shining now, reaching out to touch you. I can feel so much since I found you, looking through the eyes of love. And now I do believe that even through the storm we'll find some light, knowing you're beside me. I'm alright. Please don't let this feeling end. It might not come again, and I want to remember how it feels to touch you, how I feel so much since I found you, looking through the eyes of love.
Thank you, Whitney. We are so lucky to have these four singers with us tonight. Thank you, Whitney. That is, of course, the theme from Ice Castles. We're going to follow it with another song from Sweet Smell of Success. One of the things that I love about the score for Sweet Smell is how it captures the essence of film noir. If you recall, the story is about a press agent, Sidney Falcone, who's trying to make a mark, and he needs the help of the Walter Winchell character in order to succeed. And Winchell gives him some advice about his name, which figures in this next song. This is the moment when he finally feels like he might be making it.
In the trash, you take the whole damn past and cash it in. Cash the whole thing in. You're not crazy, a lot can happen in one night. With half a chance, who knows what might begin. Falcone might just win. So many times you thought the way was clear, only to find you can't get there from here. Here's your chance, make some dough, change your name, keep the O. Hey, Sydney, you finally found some luck. You've always been and also ran, just racing for a buck. A guy with a smile, away with a word, quick with a joke we've already heard. Did you ever hear the one about Lana Turner? Sitting at the soda fountain, dreaming her soda fountain dreams. But there was something he could see for just a moment. It's like he saw inside of me what's really there. What I was, what I am, what I'll be. Maybe I'm at the fountain. Maybe I'm at the start. It's time to step up and drink and not even think. You don't have to think to be smart. Sometimes the perfect timing feels like a work of art, 'cause it can bring you your break and answer the ache he offers. You take the part. Garbo, Brando, Harlow, Monroe, keep the O. Garbo, Brando, Harlow, Monroe, keep the O. Somebody buys a paper at the stand. Buddy, you hold my future in your hand. Fortunes change, people grow. Now and then, fountains flow. It's like he saw inside of me where I belong, where I could be. And in the flashing of the neon, I could swear that he could see what's really there. Garbo, Brando, Harlow, Falco.
should I stand? Okay, I'm going to stand right here. According to Hamlisch's memoir, his greatest professional tragedy was the failure of his show, Jean, which was produced by the National Theatre in London but never came to Broadway. He was passionate about the importance of this show, about the real-life actress Jean Seberg, who became a civil rights activist and was targeted by the FBI. As Hamlisch put it, I saw her as a martyr, her fate as our country's tragedy, the prejudices that undermine our American dream. I saw the panorama of the best of America, where an unknown can become a star, and the worst of America, where you can be destroyed by it. The show, which seemed cursed from the beginning, including having Michael Bennett dropping out as director, opened in London in 1983 and became a legendary flop, but a mystique has continued to grow around the score, and many are convinced it's a lost treasure, deserving of rediscovery and reconsideration. The Hamlisch collection includes 29 songs written for Jean Seberg, compared to their Playing Our Song, which has 9. And many of the songs have a dark underside, but also some comic relief. We're going to do 2 songs from Jean now. The first is sung by a group of doctors at a psychiatric hospital. It's called The Least We Could Do.
We just cured a well-known schizophrenic. Both of him said that we were the best. When he's feeling nuts, they carry him into our sanitarium, and we 3 take care of the rest. When Miss Seberg arrived at our clinic, she was practically dead, you'll agree. Now she's singing for her suppers. All we did was give her uppers. She's all a star patient should be. Trained nurses and thousands of pills.
Great food and incredible bills.
Her future's assured.
She may be broke, but she is practically cured. The poor lady was going insane.
One shot, she got over the pain.
Good care pulled her through.
For $30,000, it's the least we could do.
Oh, it's the least we could do. It's the least we could do.
She almost was a goner, but we gave our word of honor
That we'd find a way to make her pull through. It's the least we could do.
I'm an expert at laying on couches.
We've heard.
While you doctors have fun with my mind.
That's not all.
But my brain is getting calluses from all of this analysis. You found all you're going to find.
That's what you think.
So I think that it's time for an exit.
Bye-bye.
I am perfectly healthy again.
Aha.
You can bet that I am thankful, guys. I'll miss the way you tranquilize. I swear I'll drop in now and then.
We know you will. We're brilliant at working with scalps. 6 months and she's fleeing the Alps. We're swelling with pride.
Many other patients flipped out or died.
She's ready to stand on her own. She's feeling as strong as St. Joan.
I owe it to you and you and you.
Aw, shucks, it's the least we could do. Oh, it's the least we could do. It's the least we could do.
She had a little trauma, but our morphine made her calmer.
Now your friends can give injections to you. It's the least we could do.
Dreamers have mountains they will climb. There are dreamers who don't believe in time. Only dreamers have worlds where they can go far away. Certain dreamers have kingdoms they will build filled with treasures and dragons to be killed. Only dreamers have wings with which to fly far away. Some people dream of being rich, while others dream of being tall. And there are people who don't dream at all. Dreamers have shooting stars they chase. There are others with nightmares they must face. Sometimes dreamers are forced to leave their dreams far away. People dream of being rich, while others dream of being tall. And there are people who don't dream at all. Sometimes you need to take the time to find treasures and mountains we can climb, and maybe we dream to change the way that we feel. 'Cause to dreamers, the real world can be unreal.
Marvin's second musical to make it to Broadway was They're Playing Our Song in 1979. Hold on one second. He had been collaborating with Neil Simon to turn one of his plays into a musical when Simon surprised him with a draft script based on observations Simon had made about the personal and professional relationship between Hamlisch and lyricist Carol Bayer Sager. This song from They're Playing Our Song was a song that Marvin himself liked to perform, and so I do it in his memory. If you really knew me, if you really truly knew me, maybe you would see the other side of me I seldom see. If there were no music, if my melody stopped playing, would you be the kind of girl I'd want to see tonight? Does the man make the music, or does the music make the man? And am I everything I tried so hard to be? If you really knew me, if you'd take the time to understand, maybe you would find me the part I left behind me. Maybe you'd remind me of who I am. If there were no music, if my melody stop playing, would I be the kind of man you'd want to see tonight? Does the man make the music, or does the music make the man? And am I everything I tried so hard to be? If you really knew me, if you'd take the time to understand, maybe you could find me, the part I left behind me. Maybe you remind me of who I am. There's one other musical by Marvin Hamlisch that hasn't made it to Broadway yet. The Nutty Professor had its premiere production in Nashville in 2012, beginning previews just a few weeks before Mr. Hamlisch died. Directed by Jerry Lewis himself, a true musical comedy, Hamlisch left us with a twinkle and a smile.
One part oxygen, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part sodium, 2 of chlorine. Through this gas we come to potassium, 1 small fleck and a speck of protein. Though this formulation may seem dreary and austere, it's just the equation for a single human tear. Symbols scrawled with chalk on slate, they're my poetry. But, Miss Purdy, you are sure pure chemistry to me. Stella, your name reminds me of stalactites, with their fluorescence lit by black lights within the caverns of the Black Hills, South Dakota. Stella, I'm filled with awe and standing so stellic, which means a stone or wooden relic, such as a totem pole in Black Hills, Minnesota. All at once I'm yearning, with my Bunsen burning. Picture us as pleasure seekers in a world of Pyrex beakers. Every test tube sings. Stella, your name reminds me, your name's a constellation of every star in God's creation, a supernova in Jehovah's sky. Stella, Stella. Stella, just picture how our meeting might go, like glycerin when greeting nitro, a grand kaboom that sends the room sky high. Stella, Stella, can't you see we equals you and I?
There's another song on Marvin's list of must perform at any Marvin concert. This is what Hamlisch had to say about composing this song. You may wonder how I knew when I'd written the right melody. I can only say that one day I wrote a melody that just got to me. It reminds me of the apocryphal story about Michelangelo. Someone asked the great artist, "How do you sculpt an elephant?" And he replied, "Well, I get this slab of marble, and I chip away everything that doesn't look like an elephant to me. What's left is an elephant." In the same way, seated at my piano, I chip away everything that doesn't feel like the correct melody. What's left, hopefully, is the right one.
Of my mind, misty watercolor memories of the way we were. Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind, smiles we gave to one another for the way we were. Was all so simple then, or has time rewritten every line? And if we had the chance to do it all again, tell me, would we? Could we? Memories may be beautiful, and yet what's too painful to remember? We simply choose to forget. We
I'd like to invite the other singers out on stage, and I'd like to say a few thank yous. First, of course, to the library for all that they did to make this evening possible, particularly Anne McLean and Mark Horowitz. I want to thank you so much, both of you. Once again, I'd like to thank the amazing band. And our four vocalists, Bryce Pinkham, Capathia Jenkins, Whitney Bashor, and Lindsay Mendez.
Kiss today goodbye. The sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck the same to you. But I can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love. Love is never gone as we travel on. Love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye. Kiss today goodbye. And point me toward tomorrow. Point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love. Love is never gone as we travel on. Love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye and point me toward tomorrow. Point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love.
We have one more. This is another rarity. It's a cut song from the Sweet Smell Success, but it speaks very poignantly to our feelings about Marvin and having lost him far, far too early.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.